congratulations. Thank you so much for another brilliant film. Chad, if I could start with you. I understand that the John Wick films don't start with a script the way that many other films do, and I really want to ask you about your mood board for John Wick 4.
I think it's the way we kind of started on the first one is Keanu and I talked about everything we love about action movies, everything we don't, like what we use, like Point Blank with Lee Marvin and some Charles Bronson, Steve McQueen, Le Samurai, like Alan Toulon, that kind of thing. More like characterizations of how we want it. We started with Wick, right? We started with the character. We kind of built him first. And then we made a list of, ninjas, samurai, sword fights, muscle cars, close quarter combat, judo, jiu-jitsu, dog, nightclub. I remember was up there with the Circle Rouge we used as a model, like with Derek Kolstad at the time. And just kind of built backwards that way. Like I remember our first couple notebooks on John Wick 4 was, horse. Was it Laurence of Arabia? Aqaba by land. It was like waterfalls. I knew I wanted to do a waterfall feature, and you just kind of build backwards off imagery. I mean, it's kind of weird, organically. Like Keanu will talk about character, so inward out, and then outward in. We'll do like set pieces. We knew we wanted to shoot in like the Louvre. We knew we wanted Paris. We thought we want to open the world up a little bit, and we had to design this, sequences. We wanted to bring muscle cars back. And then we start designing scenes and what we want to do with the character first. Then we start pulling all those pieces together. So the script's kind of coming from a lot of different angles.
I know, but I think also, like, I know going to the production office, the way that you do set up images and the way you work with Kevin Cavanaugh with the production design. You guys start talking, I think, pretty early days.
Yeah,
about
of the visuals
ideas
and
the visuals and the sets of everything.
Right. And then it kind of starts with that, and then we go scout. We location scout a lot, and we kind of build the action sequences off that. But at the same time, I'm always talking to Keanu going, wouldn't it be cool if, and he's telling me, wouldn't it be cool if, like the marquee, like that all comes from like talk between us about what we need John Wick's journey, and we try to build outward from that.
Wow. And then at what point is the script brought together?
What? I think we're always working on it, but just from different, it's not like a linear process. We know the journey, like the outline, and then we start building the pieces.
Wow. Yeah. And can you, the excitement, clearly from both of you talking there, is so evident watching you both talk about these films since 2014, sort of the excitement of that planning ideas process. And I wondered what for you is sort of the fondest memories, sort of throwing those ideas together.
Yeah, I mean, if I sectionalized it, I thought, I think the creative process about, talking with Chad and, certainly, through the first one and just the process of really getting to create and make it up as we go along has always been, super pleasurable and like, I don't know, I could start listing them, but it just keeps going. I mean, I think with Chapter 4, I don't want to give that away, but, the idea of the nunchucks, the idea of getting back to driving the cars, the muscle cars, and get to do that again. So it's fun to like have ideas, to hear what he's thinking about, and then to go train, and then to go do them.
I remember on the first one, for just deciding the hair, because he came out. Remember the first time we did the camera test?
Right.
We still hadn't decided, and he came out with the hair and the beard and the suit, and you just knew, like, I haven't seen that guy before. Like, that's the guy. That always stands out when we did that little camera test.
And have there been any really wacky ideas that just they went on the whiteboard and then they sort of got wiped off the whiteboard?
My 3 dozen underwater sequence.
No, I hate that underwater ideas.
I had this big underwater sequence done.
No, you can't do
that got crossed off.
I was like, no, you can't go underwater.
Yeah, no, we pitched
that once. And
then
in Chapter 4, you also had snowmobiles.
We had a lot of snowmobiles, but we just couldn't fit that in. We were good with that one, just didn't fit. The underwater one, I think, got nixed.
No, I was like, no.
They're like 100 nights, okay,
no.
underwater.
No.
That one got scratched. Yeah.
It's awful every time. You can't make...
See, still a hard pitch.
You can't do it. I mean, you might be... Okay.
Wick underwater didn't go.
Oh.
Pretty cool. And as I said, I'm doing this for radio stations, so the use of radio communication was delightful in that.
The DJ.
In the last act. And the music choices as well, amazing. Just why was radio the perfect way to communicate?
Well, I think we have this weird digital analog production design in the movie we've used carrier pigeons, we've suicide old school typing and operators, you know, so the way we wanted to get information out was just something different. And I think it was a good in to get music. We both love music, so how do you get needle drops into John Wick? And we thought that was a good way of doing it, of actually having a needle drop in the movie. And I think we're both Walter Hill fans, and we love the Warriors, which is obviously it's a reference to.
It's a wonderful moment. And Keanu, we have to talk about, your epic stunts, of course, and they're back in John Wick 4. I have to say, where do you find your energy on the start of those days to sort of psych yourself up for those moments?
Desperation, fear, and love.
All of the above.
That is the best answer I've heard. That's awesome.
And equally, though, how do you wind down from not only a day of that, because that seems pretty intense, but at the end of John Wick, how do you get John Wick out of your mind and body?
It's a long process. Gosh. Yeah,
Ice bath.
Ice bath. Yeah, recovery for, being older, but recovery is massage and cold water and try and get some sleep, and at the end of the day, maybe a whiskey or two.
3.
No, 2.
2, that's what we got.
Yeah. And then, I love the character, so I'm in no hurry to get it out of me.
Absolutely. And audiences will love that there's a continuing dog theme and in this film. Why is it important to have the dogs?
I'm a dog person, so that's one. I also, when we were doing when I read the script, the very first John Wick for the script, I thought the idea of introducing a dog to the character was great. Like, animals are very much reflective. It kind of brings out who you are, and what a great way to show such an interesting side of John Wick. Then you give him a puppy. If we don't have a new love interest or something like that, you have a guy that just lost his wife. So how do you take this incredibly hardcore cold killer and give him emotion? And just seeing how still one of my favorite scenes is Keanu just pouring a bowl of cereal and then looking at the puppy and going, okay, and putting down his cereal. I just think that's an incredible way to show a piece of character. And we keep using dogs throughout. I think dogs bring out your best, I think.
They do. And Keanu, for you, no stranger to working with the dogs. What is it like when you have the dogs on set? How does that change the mood on set?
I don't know. It really depends on the... I only interact in a certain way than the Malinois that are, been more kind of tactical, and the relationships that they have, like with Halle Berry and now with Shamier Anderson, who's playing the tracker. They've kind of transitioned off of John Wick to other characters, and I don't know. I think, when the Malinois come on set, it gets, I don't know Andrew's last name.
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
Is our animal wrangler.
Who's spent years on John Wick and really done all the training, and his team. So when the Malinois are there, you have to pay attention. Just no sudden movements. Don't look them in the eyes. But Shamier and Halle Berry, they trained a lot with their hounds, so that they could have. And then once they say action and they do their thing, it's beautiful.
And we have to talk about the weapons and the gun fu. Just what has been your favourite, each of you, across the series, weapons-wise?
I don't know. I still like just a good old solid, regular reload.
I like our gun fu. I like what would you call it? Manipulation. The weapon manipulate, how to reload. I think there's something really interesting about that, about the speed at which it happens, about how it interrupts the flow. I think that's great.
Yeah, it makes it feel like it's a kind of it interrupts, like a real kind of moment, like it's in there.
It's got a balletic sense to it.
Yeah, coordination.
That and the pencil. I'm gonna go with the pencil. If it wasn't gun fu, I'd go pencil or car. Like car fu and pencil fu. Those are my favorites.
Keanu and Chad, thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!